Good morning, Steve Hauck. Good morning. So yesterday, boy, this is a classic. This situation, crazy rants. Now, I don't want to deem this person who's been charged, who allegedly did all of this person to be mentally unfit. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is the stuff that was written, it seems to be quite traditional for someone who is mentally unfit.
Yeah, after
craziness.
After the story came out, I went on and I read a bunch of it, and
seemed demented.
Yeah, obviously there's some major things going on there.
Yeah, something's happening.
I think a lot of the things that were said are very typical, aimed towards government.
What I found interesting is I had one friend immediately. I just read his stuff. It's anti-Trump. There we go, another liberal out there going after Trump. But if you go on his Facebook page, he's not anti-Republican, anti-Trump. He's anti-government.
Right, he's anti-government.
Because he's ripping on Clinton, he's ripping on Obama, he's ripping on there's no party affiliation there whatsoever. It's like, I hate government.
Right.
And it seemed to be, at least what I was reading, was I went deep into his Facebook page. It was up all day. It might be up today.
Can I ask, I guess we don't know if he may have allegedly called in the threat, but we do know something was posted on social media. I was surprised at the charge of falsely reporting an incident. That would lead me to believe that he reported the. I just thought it was bizarre.
Okay, well, here's the question I'd have, because is it falsely reporting? Can you falsely report on Facebook, or do you have to make a phone call or send a letter or tell someone physically to make a false report?
Yeah, see, that's I think
Tricky.
where the law it has to be sort of, the interpretations have to be changed a little bit, because the technology is different now to report something where you know how maybe traditionally before calling 911 or telling someone, where really, I mean, you're communicating in written form a threat. So I could see very easily why they would interpret that as reporting it. If say his Facebook page was closed and nobody could see it, it might be a different. He's just ranting. But the fact is it was open. I was able to go on it. So really, I would interpret that as a report as well. Maybe not in the traditional sense of
however,
reporting.
I think it's going to be tricky.
Oh, I'm sure it will be.
If all he had was on his Facebook page, it is going down uncharted territory. We were able to kind of deal with this in schools. So a school has every right to be able to say, all right, this student has gone on social media and disrupted our class activity and school activity, so therefore we're going to suspend this kid. This is a little different situation. This is now a post on social media that has disrupted society.
Right.
So what do you call that? And at least at this point, they're saying they can add charges, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So at this point, they're looking at a false claim.
Right.
So I find it to be interesting. And on social media yesterday, a lot of people critical saying these guys don't know what are they doing? They don't know what they're doing. They're leaving these employees in the building when there's a bomb threat. Wouldn't you get them out? Talk a little bit about how. Especially today, it's just it's not like you flip a switch. This is how you draw up, type it in, and all of a sudden it pops up. Bomb scare. Here's how you handle this situation. It is different circumstance by circumstance.
Right. Well, you have to remember that every scenario is a little different. You're dealing with 1,000 people. If you had a house that had 4 or 5 people in it, you might say very easily, okay.
To be specific, it was about 411, 420
Still
people,
large
something like
group
that.
Of people.
Large group of people. This was the second shift, had just arrived, so it was a smaller shift.
So you could easily, with a house, take 3, 4 people, run them down the street, do it in less than 30 seconds, probably get them out of the house and down the street. Obviously not an option here. So you have to think, okay, if this is real and it's a real bomb and the person has, obviously, they're saying what they're saying.
Saying it's in the car,
right?
This
wasn't supposed to be a hidden thing. They weren't trying to surreptitiously, explode a bomb. They wanted to, so assume it's real. If you started to move people, would they say detonate it? So you have to make decisions based on the information you have. So the information they had at the time was that it was in a car in the parking lot. So to me, I think they did exactly what you're supposed to do. You take the information you have and you try to react the best you can. I've never been in the Remington Arms building, but I assume because they manufacture firearms that it's a fairly secured building. I suspect they probably check bags going in. They check bags going out of all employees so that you're not
metal
taking
detectors. I believe I've been told metal detectors.
Right.
Yeah.
So based on that information, you have to say, okay, how hard would it be for someone to get something into the building? Pretty hard. Right. Much easier in the parking lot. So you have to make a determination. That's what law enforcement is. You take the information, you interpret it, make the best decision you can. And I think they did exactly what I probably would have done in that situation, which was keep people contained, keep them in the building, take them to a safe area, probably far away from the parking lot, the back end of the building, and then you contain them until because
I would imagine, based on the parking lot, I would imagine they probably did just that. That whole area in the front of the building, adjacent to the parking lot, they probably moved people away from there.
Right.
But again, here we go again with just somebody, a random person, being able to cause chaos. And boy, when we had the DA in here yesterday talking about throwing the book at this person, I think we kind of have to do that right now. We got to put a stop to this sort of thing.
Yeah, you have to. You certainly do, because these things get out of hand real quick. Yeah. But you also have to look at the mental capacity of people, and that's something the system does.
Because let me ask you, we talk about this always with the Second Amendment, but you have somebody that's deranged. Again, this is hypothetical.
Sure.
You have someone who is deranged. Does a law or fear of being arrested or jailed kind of dissuade them?
Well,
not always. We could at least say that.
Right. And the fear of it is not, law enforcement and punitive sort of behavior isn't always to deter crime. Sometimes it's to punish crime. So
right.
If you've got someone that goes out there and commits a crime, and in this situation, obviously, they have to go through the process, and then during the court process, a judge may order a mental evaluation, and they go through that process to say, did they know what they were doing?
Yeah.
Can they assist in their defense? All the things that go into evaluating whether someone can be charged and then subsequently convicted of a crime.
Okay, I want to switch gears and go to traffic.
Okay. So
we were arguing over this whole thing just a little while ago, and pretty much everybody in agreement, except for Manaski, everybody in agreement. I'm on a street. I'm about to enter a larger highway or street. That is a 2-lane or 4-lane highway, 2 lanes going eastbound. And I'm going to westbound. I'm going to take a left-hand turn. I always was under the belief that you have to when you make that turn, you have to go into the left lane first. And then I have a turn to the right coming up soon. I then have to merge over into the right lane to make that right-hand turn. You're saying that's not true.
Right. So from a 1 to
Andrew, no longer book Hauck.
He's done off the guest list, and Jeff is very excited.
Yeah. Oh, look at him.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
He's as excited as he was when he gave that great answer earlier for the.
It's all right. That's all right. He still has a broken chainsaw. We'll get into that.
Thank you, Bill.
Okay.
So to go from a 1 to a 2, if you're going 2 lanes to 2, so Burstone Road is a perfect example of where you make a left. So you're on Sunset Ave.
Okay.
And you're going to go west on Burstone Road, right at Faxton there. You know where it turns sharp.
Yep.
There's 2 lanes. Right. You have to stay in your lane there. A lot of people don't. And same thing in front of Home Depot. They come off the ramp, they turn left there, and they always cut in front of you, and it happens to me every time. You have to stay in your lane there. But if you're going from 1 lane into 2 lanes, either lane would be your choice.
I never knew that.
Now, here's the thing that applies to what you were saying, and this is where I did agree. The guy behind him can't be up his butt and swerving around him, right? He should be patient and could be ticketed for unsafe, whatever we want to call it.
Unsafe lane change, unsafe.
Right.
Do you agree with that?
Most of the time, and there are exceptions to it, when the person in the back, they have the view of everything. They can see you much better than you can see them. So they have to be, you see all the time following too closely, unsafe lane. So you have to stay enough distance back to allow the person in front of you to make a mistake, essentially. So, if they were to turn in front of you, cut you off, you shouldn't, in theory, hit them because you're watching what they're doing. Yeah. So you stay far enough back. But in that situation, especially if you're right up on close onto someone like that, there's no reason why.
So the ticket would be probably following too closely.
Exactly.
Okay.
But there's a ticket for everything.
Yeah, have you ever seen the VNT law, the vehicle traffic law?
That's what I'm saying. If you're in an accident, a fender bender or something, and somebody's got to get a ticket, there's a ticket for you in the police arena. You guys can find a ticket for pretty much everything.
There's some crazy laws in there. Like you have, like there's about 30 violations for bicycles, believe it or not, in there.
Where the bicyclist would be ticketed. Wow.
Yes.
Could you get a DWI on a bicycle?
Well, it's not motorized.
I was going to say, I hope not. That's a horrible thing.
No, it's not motorized. I would say no, but I'm sure there's a slew of other things.
Public intoxication.
But I actually have written a few of those
my feeling
tickets, believe it or not.
is if you don't know, if you're a police officer and you don't know what to charge somebody with, just charge them with disorderly conduct. You're in disorder, sir. That's an easy one.
You know, the funny thing about disorderly conduct is if you look at litigation and cases that have been brought in front of appellate courts over the years, it is disorderly conduct is one of the most litigated sections of the penal law because it gets very loosely interpreted. You're going to have less people fight sue you in federal court for murder if you charge them with murder than you would for disorderly conduct. It's crazy.
That is.
Yes.
One other question. You know where you're at the Onondagas, and let's say you're turning left over to go towards
12B.
Clinton, 12B, Killebrew over there in that area. So you have the two lanes. Now, I was always taught, let's not forget, I failed my first driver's test. Oh, well, I ran through the stop sign. Give me a break. I rolled through the stop sign.
Rolled.
It was a stop. It met my standards. That's all I'm saying.
And nobody was coming the other way.
Yeah,
so.
the brownie, is that what they call him? He didn't think so. Anyway, so you're turning left. You have right lane, left lane, but it merges into one lane.
Right.
So I was always taught that it's a courtesy. So one would go first. I don't know how that is. The first one that gets there. Mm-hmm. The next one would merge in, and then the courtesy is the left lane would merge, followed by the right lane, followed by the left lane. Is there a law in particular for that?
Well, there should be signage. And the sign is, if you look, it's usually a straight line followed by a line alongside of it that sort of cuts in. Mm-hmm. So the person in the straight line has the right of way. Oh. And the person that has sort of the crooked line has to yield in when there's room to move in.
So in that intersection there, I would say the right lane is the one, right? That has to.
No, I think it's the left lane.
I'd have to see the signs.
I believe it is the left lane. If you look at the way it works, when you turn left, it's staying in the lane, but that right lane kind of cuts off. So that would be the merging lane.
Perfect example is in the same intersection is in front of Utica National. Where sort of Upper Genesee Street, it goes from 2 lanes to 1, and you'll see there's a sign there, and it does a yellow sign that tells you who has the right of way.
So the person with the shorter line is the one who
does not
have the right of way.
That's right.
So the courtesy factor only comes in if the person in the right of way gives you that courtesy. If he doesn't, you have to wait.
That's right.
What I do, if I'm in that right lane, is I just close my eyes. Okay, we're through.
Well, I believe somewhere in the VTS is he who accelerates fastest wins.
I think that does
somewhere.
Work
I think
too,
it's in there somewhere.
And he who is larger, whether I like to admit it or not, does work.
Sure.
Your vehicle's large. The truck driver. What's the truck driver do? I'm just going. I don't know what you're doing. So good luck. All right. Thanks for nothing, but I appreciate it.